Hello and welcome back to The Investor's Opinion. Is Palantir a good investment? Palantir is a software solutions company that works within the big data analytics sector, currently run by the eccentric CEO Alex Karp. Palantir currently offer two primary product offerings, Gotham and Foundry. And this leads us towards our first controversies. This is Palantir operating within sovereign activities and government contracts. Currently, the most controversial is their ICE contract in regards to the crackdown on US illegal immigration. And this has resulted in community protest within the towns and the communities that have had to be affected by this. However, the executives at Palantir have also noted that they have possibly saved or helped tens or hundreds of thousands of lives through their platform's use at the United Nations Food Health Programs. But at the end of the day, this technological implementation of big data analytics was an inevitability in the long run, as we strive towards accuracy, security, and efficiency. Palantir will drive home the fact that their software and platforms are not actually selling people's data or selling data. It is a platform that interprets large quantities of it, trends and analyses. And the accountability of how companies act based on that has been shifted from companies such as Facebook to the company who acts upon the data. Palantir's company model trends towards mass scalability. And simply put, during their Investor Day conference, their model and milestones for the coming years are to acquire, expand, and then scale. And these came along because Palantir has a great management team and founding members. The solutions that they found the problems to involved their careers at PayPal, finding that SQL data analytics required extensive training, which was provided through costly education and wages at commercial firms. They also found that data analytics was basically fragmented in the commercial sector. It was very hard for them to find the data they needed to compile accurate data analytics. Their UI structure and application-based feel allows even just the general worker to be able to interact with it in their everyday work experiences. Palantir is also an enterprise-based model. They price their products at anywhere between the 100,000 to the 1.5 million for a 50-person setup. This means Palantir offered the best of the best in their product range, and though very costly for their clients, the demand is so necessary that they will pay that enterprise-based value. At this present time, Palantir has their two primary platform product offerings. Foundry lets any user in any organization bring data into their daily work and their everyday lives and decision-making. Whereas Gotham seeks to find needles in haystacks, finding individuals in complex networks, like bad characters for security and terrorism-based measures. With an understanding of the company's framework and model, what qualities does Palantir offer us as current or prospective investors? Well, we'll start with the strengths, and firstly, as a software solutions company, we can see straight away that their gross profit margins will be high, and this generally tends to faster technological sector growth in the stock market, as well as a larger valuation in the long run, which provides great returns for us as investors. Secondly, they are the first movers in the industry, and this entitles them to that first bite of all the biggest players in town. Their management team is also incredibly fierce. We've seen an experienced team of individuals be able to provide a beautiful solution to a problem that they found in their own careers. And their contact lists are bound to be stock full of great network connections to provide them with greater opportunities in the long run. Finally, the problem that they are solving is a global problem. It is one that is riddled throughout every sector, and this means that their scalability is tenfold likely. there are many industries out there that would love to use their platform, and we see this every day by new contracts being developed, expanded contracts, etc. But what are the weaknesses of Palantir for us as investors? Well, at this present time, the customer concentration and clientele of Palantir are very, very minor. A lot of their revenue comes from a very small portion of their clients, their bigger ones. This means that if a client was to pull a contract, this could yield big things for the revenue and obviously the valuation of the company. Palantir is also close to 70% government revenue as of Q4 2020. And this yields the same risk, if not elevates the risk of that prior point. Lastly, regulatory bodies have not touched this sector as it is a brand new sector, and this could yield a decrease in revenue and potentially valuation in the long run if the government was to start moving pieces and regulating the data analytics sector. Now, with a good understanding of Palantir's model and qualities to us as investors, what are the quantitative fundamentals? Well, we can expect to see a low profit or no profit at all. We also expect to see a condensed clientele list. And these are not surprises to us as we are in that very early software enterprise stage. But we do want to see a high gross profit margin on the platforms that they sell. And we also want to see a high R&D budget to show that they are looking for further revenue pipelines within the data analytics software sector. Interestingly enough, given our current understanding of the financial earnings reports that they have posted, we can see that R&D has increased 250% to 313 million, and gross profit margins are at 66%, which are great. Both these things yield great things for the scalability of Palantir, as the more they sell and the more clients they have, the more diversified their portfolio becomes, which reduces risk, and also the larger profitability they will get. Revenue in the fourth quarter hit 322 million, which is a whopping 40% increase year over year, and this growth is forecasted to maintain 30 to 45% for the coming 5 to 10. But now, finally, looking at the balance sheet of Palantir, are they financially stable? And we can see that actually, yes, they are in a really robust position, with total current assets being 2.4 billion, with total cash or cash equivalents of 1.8 billion of that, and only 942 million in liabilities. And this yields great reduced risk for the company's default status in the coming future for investors. Investors should not be worried about Palantir's financial structure currently. Now, with an absolutely crisp set of financials out of the way, let's look at the technicals. So we'll bring up the graph right here, and we can instantly see that the RSI and MACD, well, they're at oversold positions. And we can also see that we've just broken a support and gotten a big downward turn into the close here. And this is because of the earnings report that was produced today, creating two primary factors of fear across the market. The first one was the guidance was actually lower than the guidance given by analysts, a whole whopping 1%. So don't really give a shit about that. But the lockup experience is expiring on Thursday, and that can really send some fear throughout the market. And the reason for this is because there's a lot of shares held up behind the walls of this floodgate. And though it sounds super evil and hard and can be quite distressing for a current investor, there isn't something that anyone should be worried about. As we have seen from the Investor Day, we know that their plans are to acquire, expand, and scale. That means that the investors that are holding their shares right now, looking at this locked up date, are probably not interested in giving up their shares just yet. There is probably a lot higher value that these guys can sell their shares at, given the company's projected growth over the next 5 to 10 years. So don't let yourself be scared out of the market by basic fluff and noise, because that's all this is. At the end of the day, the company's fundamentals are growing, it is in a great financial situation, and its problems that it's solving are problems that are global and scalable. So in summary, we've hit a technical buy point. We've fundamentally grown at a great steady rate though declined in the last year, still in a great steady space. And we are looking at great qualities in a company within the software enterprise sector. It is a company that will likely yield high returns in the long run, and investors will likely be awarded with this multi-bagger opportunity if they were to enter now and continue to show great discipline over the next 5 to 10 years. And as spoken about before, there is a moat for Palantir, even though there isn't one that's widely accepted. And that, to me personally, and I hope you agree, is to do with their entangling ability, with their high product cost, and the lack of opportunity cost for any organization to walk away from it. Essentially, what this gives investors is an opportunity to invest in a data analytics company, one that produces at a scale and with a platform that has never been seen before at any utilization or function. It is a white swan in a situation where it should be an absolute bloodbath, but it isn't. They are the only movers, they are the major players, and they have big, big backers. The investor's opinion assigns a buy rating to Palantir. And this has been an opinion, the investor's opinion. Good hunting.